I wanted to talk to you about the work that you're doing in restoration, something that Indian cinema needs very badly, I think, given the state of its archiving. But tell me how you came upon this.
Okay. It wasn't by design. It's just that I got married into this family. And I don't come from a film background at all. I did my MBA in Mumbai, and after that joined Citibank for a very short while, and then got married. So I joined my husband in the business, and at that time this company, I don't know if you know, is now over 65 years old. So we started with making films. We were producing films, and that was my husband's grandfather, Mr. Prasad. He used to make films, and then his father started the laboratories, the film laboratories. So from that, he was in the analog side of the business. So he set up laboratories in 5 states in India: Chennai, Hyderabad, Kerala, Mumbai, Orissa, and Bangalore. Sorry, 6. And then Sai studied, computer graphics, etc. in the US, came back and started the digital side of business. So we started with production, analog film, laboratory business, and then to the digital side. And digital is, as we all know, is color grading, VFX, and all the other, digital part. Analog moved to digital, so all the services there. But what happened was, strangely, I think it was in 2005, because I could see it. I was handling the sales, marketing, and finance of the companies. And so I believe that the next step that we need to get into the next business is restoration. I didn't see that because everything was going fine. We were making films. 35mm was, the format that we were working on. But he insisted that we do take this step, and I was wondering why we were spending so much money in doing something which didn't make sense to me. But now I know why. But yes, so in 2005 is when we started our restoration department. We got somebody from overseas to come and set up the workflow for us, and we started working. I think it was 2000, yeah, it was around 2005. And then at that point, India was not even considering restoring any of its content. So it was Hollywood. Hollywood was they already had so much content and knew how important it was to, safeguard their libraries. So we were working for all the studios there, restoring all their content. And when we went there, the studios were able to do, say, 3 films a year, 4 films, because it needed so much of effort. It needed so many people to work on it, and they didn't have that there. So we went in and we said, we can put in a lot of manpower. For the price that you are spending on these 3, 4, 5 films, you can do twice or 3 times the amount, and have that many more films restored. So we did the tests, and they were happy with it. And that's how the trend of moving, restoration to India, outsourcing work to India. So we started it. It was like, we followed the IT model. So we went there and said, listen, why don't you outsource? Because this is a very labor-intensive job. But this is only as far as digital restoration goes. So that's how our beginning, started. And then what happened was the labs, unfortunately, fortunately, with the coming of digital screens, making films on 35, it just reduced. And we thought it'll have a long tail, but unfortunately, between 2010 and 2012, it just dropped, and we had to close all our labs. That everybody had to do that. So that was a very shocking thing for my father-in-law, because all his life he only knew cinema, he knew film, and that's all he knew. And suddenly he had to close all his laboratories. But fortunately for the company, we were in the digital side of the business too. So that way it didn't impact, but then, you lose your laboratories. So at that point, most of the other companies said, okay, labs closed, let's shut it, let's take the negatives, give it back to the clients. We don't want to keep their stock, their materials with us. It's just costing us more, space and power and all that, because we need to keep it in an air-conditioned environment, minimum. So at that point, we realized, now who are we? We've worked with film for the last 40, 50 years. We have the skill set. I mean, you send away all your people because the people, they don't know anything else. So if they have to go and work somewhere else, they have to either go to a totally different industry, and they're all elderly people, old people. So we realized we had a pool of qualified, skilled people who we could use them for the future. So though we let them go, we kept all the key people, and we even till today is the only lab or place that we have people who have the skill sets, who have the expertise, which is so useful now currently, because when you're working with the government on their NFHM project, which is the National Heritage Film Mission, they need people, they need editors, film editors. Where are you going to get them from? It's not digital, it's all analog, handling those films, how to do it. So we have people who we train, and we needed 100 people over there. So because we realized and we believed that this is so important, we continued to keep these, technicians and these skills alive. So, and now it's become so useful because it's a rare commodity. So this is all I would credit my husband. Of course, I'm just a doer, but he's the one who's, he's the visionary, or he looks far ahead and knows what's important. And
Kavita, that's so fascinating because uh, I think the idea of cinema as heritage is something that, as you said, has only come about now. And people have become aware of it. And you have these fantastic screenings of Aranya Din Ratri and all the Ray masterpieces all over the world, and other filmmakers as well. But in 2005, I think it took someone with great vision to see that this was a possibility. I also remember when you talked of Prasad Film Labs, there was a time when it was the hub of all major film stars in the South especially. And I still, I remember talking to Dulquer Salman a few months ago, and he told me all the mega stars would land up at film labs, and, because they would be dubbing. And they would all sort of meet, and, they became real good friends. And that's how the children of these film stars have also sort of become good friends. So Prasad Film Labs was not just, as you said, it was not just another film lab. It was really a piece of history, I think, and a sort of meeting place for so many of our great filmmakers and actors. So I can imagine your father-in-law must have felt a profound sense of loss when that went. But it's interesting that you chose to pivot, and rather than sort of see what has happened to other film labs. Some great ones in Mumbai, for instance, which just sort of, just disintegrated virtually. But what I wanted to ask you was, you continue to work in Hollywood, but what is the work that you're doing in India?
in India, we provide all the services. So if you're talking about mainly about the legacy work, right? The legacy
That's
business.
right. Yeah.
So what we
Because
did,
you must have had thousands and thousands of
so
film cans,
uh,
what did you do with it?
actually, let me go a little back. It was in 2008, 2009 is when I said, we want to be the Xerox in the film, the Xerox of the world, in the film industry. So what do we need? Okay. He says the idea was to set up mobile scanning facilities in wherever there's film content, scan their work, or provide a scanner to them so that they can scan their material and then move the scanner to another facility. So when we were doing research, we needed around 10 to 12 scanners, and these scanners are not cheap. Each one is upwards of 500 and 600,000 in those days, close to $1 million, one scanner, one film scanner. So we went around, and the company that was making the best scanners in the world, and they had actually manufactured one for legacy content, was DFT. So we went and we said, hey, listen, we need to buy these many scanners. This is our idea. This is our vision. This is what we want to do. And they said, yeah, fine. And then a month later, they come back and say, listen, we have no money. We're going to close. We are winding up. Now, that would have, affected our future plans. So we acquired DFT. Had no knowledge of manufacturing. And that was German technology, which is the best in the world and most complicated. But that made us acquire DFT, which was, I think, 2012. I'm not wrong. If I'm wrong with the dates, I can always clarify. I think it was 2012, yeah. And that's how we got this, the scanners, which were made for legacy content, because what you need, we need a scanner, which is, what do people need? A fast scanner, but at the same time, it should be very gentle with film. So the scanner, it doesn't work on sprockets. What it does is normally you would expect the film to go like this over the rollers, right? This made it so gentle that the film and the rollers both go together. So you are not taxing the film. You're really being very delicate with the film, but we're maintaining the speed of real time in 2K and, almost half the time in 4K. So that's how we started. And because of that scanner, because of the, it was the Rolls Royce of, scanner. So that opened doors for us all over the world, whether it's in the Middle East, whether it's Cairo, Europe, Asia, India, everywhere. This opened doors, and we were able to provide the service to people so they can, at that time it was only 4K. 4K was the maximum resolution. So we found solutions for our clients, saying that, okay, 4K requires a lot more storage space. So we had compression technology to ensure that we're able to, do a lossless compression for them so they don't spend so much on data. So we kept finding solutions, reinventing it for our clients. So this actually started then the idea was to provide digitization. And we said, okay, even 10% of that comes back to India for restoration is a lot of work. So based on that premise is how this whole thing expanded. And then when we came to scanning, what happens is who's going to handle the negatives? If they're neat and clean negatives, it's easy for an editor to clean. But what if it's deteriorating? So again, we started studying, we got people to come and teach us how to chemically restore, how do we, bring the negative back to a situation where it can be scanned. So that's what we did at NFAI. I don't remember the count, but we had 100 editors. We physically and chemically restored all the negatives and prints that were in a bad condition, brought it to a state where it could be scanned. And what happens is after you bring it to that state, within a month, we need to scan those negatives. So, that's how, and now I would say we're really experts. And because of our experience with NFHM, no company in the world has done this kind of volume in such a short span. So, now we are going around teaching people and things like that. So yeah, it's a long journey. So we've done the backward integration, and forward is how do you store it? What do we do? What is the next level of storage? We also physically store negatives for clients who are willing to pay for it, so that in like minus degree temperatures. So frozen, literally, where frozen foods are stored, that kind of temperature. So it's the entire one by one introduced thing. So now we provide all the services that are required to preserve a negative or a film.
The negatives that were with Prasad Labs.
What did you say? What about that?
What about the negatives that were with Prasad Labs?
We still, the Chennai lab, Hyderabad, Kerala, we still have our negatives. What happens is we are storing them in air conditioned. We can't really spend that much more money to provide the ideal storage conditions. So we request producers to please take their negatives. And they know Prasad will never throw it out. Like we had labs, sending letters to producers saying, please take your negatives. They don't take it. They just left it up and said, listen, you take it. It's your, it's your material, please come and take it, we have no responsibility. But they know that we don't do it. So we keep writing requests. We're not going to put it out there because we created all that. So no way we're going to throw it out. So we still store them. But our Mumbai lab, we sent all the negatives to NFAI. So we didn't let even one negative go, unattended. Now the Hyderabad lab negatives are going because NFAI has got enough storage. We also assisted them in that. And they want negatives and they're willing to preserve it. So we have moved, our Hyderabad partly is moved. The other states, we still have to, identify, pack it, do the whole lot of things. But eventually it will all move to NFAI storage because they have very good storage facilities.
What are the things that you've discovered? What films have you discovered, or, things that have surprised you in this journey?
The process of deterioration, if you see, the bigger the film, the worse off it is. The
Really?
condition of negative. Because somewhere, we have been so penny-wise and pound-foolish, including Prasad Production, which made films. The producer would never want to spend money on creating a internegative or a dupe negative. Okay? What we would do is from the original negative make prints. So the bigger the film, the more prints you're making. So this negative is going through the machine over and over again. So by the end of it, like a film like Ek Tujhe Ke Liye was in shambles. As I went to a Dhobi Ghat, and just whacked it on the stone. It was that bad. So bigger the film, the worse off. Like overseas, the practice is the moment you have your master negative, you make an internegative, make a dupe, and make your prints off the dupe. So the original negative is stored away. Nobody touches it. But in India, because cost of stock was so high, producers, basically are always trying to cut corners. Most of the money goes to the stars. So they never made that. Very rarely did you have an internegative. So this is before the DI era. So the negatives were in such a bad, very bad. Such beautiful films, good films. And it's a task now for us to, restore it to its original, version. So it's difficult, but fortunately technology is now helping us to get it there. But we didn't do it.
What are the films that you've restored recently that you were really delighted about?
We are restoring around 50 films a month, literally more than that maybe.
50 a month?
Yeah, maybe more. So it's a lot of films because we actually restore for the entire world, I would say, yeah. So if you see Hindi, if you're more familiar with the Hindi film industry, all Vidhu Vinod Chopra films were actually scanned in 8K. We scanned all his films in 8K. We restored in 8K. We graded in 8K and we gave it out. So I think only Paranita has come out and I think 1942 is coming out now. But we've done all his films. And of course, he loves his content and he's so concerned about it that he was willing to go down that path, of scanning in 8K. But not the rest. The other producers are looking at, okay, what am I getting out of it? And, I'll spend a little bit from that. But that's been very short-sighted. So when we tell our clients, why are you doing this? Because you're giving us business. You came when it was SD, then you came back to us for HD, then you came back to us for 2K. We are making money. Why don't you scan, at least in 8K, keep it aside. We'll down convert it to Super 4K and work in that format and keep this for future-proof yourself. But even that way, and it's only 5 lakhs of rupees to scan in 8K. Keep it aside and then use it future. But no, they don't realize that when they come back to us 2 years later or 3 years later, the negatives are going to be in such a bad shape that the cost of restoration is going to go up. But some of them understand, some of them don't. So it's all to do with money, how much they want to spend.
You talked of Ek Duje Ke Liye. Are there other films that have really devastated you, the state?
No, so that's what I'm saying. The bigger the films, the worse off. There's a film called Devo Magan, and I think it was produced in Hindi under it was called something with VI. I don't know. It had Anil Kapoor. Did very well, but I don't remember the name. It will come to me. So this is the Tamil version of it, that was a remake. called Devar Mother. No negative available. It's gone. From the print, and we scanned in 8K. I mean, you will be surprised. I think it's releasing in February, and we are going to be showing the before and after. It's terrible. The colors are gone. There are three channels, right? Black, blue, I mean, sorry, blue, green, and red. One of them was totally missing. Emulsion tears. We didn't see something, but with the help of, our R&D, a little bit of AI, the transformation of that film from what was there on that print to what is going to be screened now in the theaters is night and day. So we are trying to find solutions for people. In fact, there are some films, like if you see, most of the Kerala films were stored in a particular lab here, which shut, and we didn't do anything about it. So all those negatives have become chemical. I mean, it's like it's acid. It's gone. So they don't even have a print. They have nothing to take things from. So they had those telecines they used to do in those olden days on a digibeta. From that, we have converted that to 4K, and they were able to screen it in the theater. So technology has helped. So we are able to use that to bring them to, give them their content back. Even with NFAI, see, they have many elements. So we take one element, we take two reels from here, two reels from another one to make a full film. Because it doesn't come to you on a platter. You have to pick and choose, make it a film. So it's a lot of effort. It's a lot. So like this, there are many films. Even if you see Sholay, or if you see the other Hindi films, Rajshri's films, very bad condition. So I mean, that's the way it was. People didn't really look after their films. But there are a few producers, like Amir Khan is very particular of few of his films. But after the DIH, it's a little better. We're talking about pre-DI, which is before 2010.
And you continue to work with Hollywood,
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
and
We work on the studios.
you
Yes.
archive there. What is the state of the negatives there?
Very good condition, because they don't see, the process over there was they did make a dupe negative. So their original negative only went down the normal wear and tear over the years.
Right.
Here they were used for printing. So, it's like rolling for every film. It's obviously going to get damaged. So there it's more dust, it's more easier. The problems we face this part of the world is far more, it's very badly damaged. You have green patches, yellow patches, oil stains, name it, tears, terrible. Over there, it's okay, you have tears, but you have a lot more dust and things like that, which is easier. And we partner with all these software companies, right, which sell software for restoration and all that. So we worked with this company called Diamant from 2005 till now, and the amount of the kind of films that we come across, we send it to him. He works on it with his R&D, sends back solutions. So that way, his software has grown so much over the years. And we can see they are a very big part of it, because there's so much we've sent to him saying, how we fix this. Now he has to find a solution for it and then send it back. So it's a give and take. We work a lot with our, vendors to provide
Which is the one film that you'd like to see restored?
which is now?
Which is the one film you'd like to see restored?
I mean, every film. I'm not such a film buff, but every film is going down that path now. Kaveri. Everything is going down. For Hollywood, the classics that we've done, it's just amazing. Most of the films that I know are being restored or have been restored. So, I mean, I can't say one or two, but it's just that we've worked with most of them, so I can't say that one film which has been done.
Right. And I think the conviviality of Prasad Labs as it was then, it's still something I think the family probably misses. You hear stories about it, how films were dubbed there. And is that something the family still misses?
Actually, it's very strange, but we live in a joint family. So at the dining table, all we talk is cinema, whether it's old, whether it's incident, or whether it's future, or what's going to happen. And what's happened is because of that, it's flowed through. And even my children, our children rather, are into the same business. And of course, they went overseas to study. And there was a lot of, talk saying that, oh, because, the children are not going to come back. And I said, no, it's been ingrained in them. We've been talking cinema. So cinema is part of their life. Film is part of them. So they are sure they will come back. And rightfully so they have, and they join the business. But they're taking it to another level. They're introducing all the new technologies, new processes, making it more robust, using AI, etc., etc. So, so it's film all the time. And my father-in-law, he's now maybe 90 this year. Till today, he goes to the office. He goes, he
Oh,
needs to.
really?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he still is a little spot. So it's, I guess that's why we've survived 65, 70 years, because that's all
Yeah.
they know. And I've now become part of the family. So that's what.
So great legacy, and it's wonderful to see you taking it forward. Thank you so much, Kavita, for this conversation.
So much,
Thank you.
Kavita, for having, talking with me and reliving our past.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you.